Well, hello and welcome back to TwoSun Tuesday. I got another one here for you. This one is another relatively recent release, and one that I like quite a bit, but this particular variant I do have a problem with, and I had mentioned that on my original unboxing video of this. I don't remember exactly when that came out, but we'll cover all of that going on here. So, yes, this is a NightMorning design. You can see it's actually one of the few that has been put onto the handle here rather than onto the blade. You can see it's a front flipper. And jimping goes all the way up and around. So I suppose that particular feature is something that some people like Jared and Eve really appreciate, even though I don't necessarily think that this one is super easy to do a reach around for, but at least the jumping goes up over there, so there you go. So, open this guy up. This guy, it's a single blade here, and looks like I do have just a little bit of schmutz going on it because I've recently used it. And apparently put a little roll on the edge that I feel up here. But oh well, I can take care of that later. This is the TS349. It's a D2 blade. Yeah, it's new. It's a relatively new design, which means, well, it's in D2, unless it's really fancy, in which case it's in M390. It's basically what they're doing right now. That's another topic, so we'll just leave it at that. It's D2, works great. This one has micarta, and it's not their older meh-carta. It is actually a natural canvas micarta there that they're starting to use a little bit more. Has a nice textured finish to it. Not super crazy rough, but this is nowhere near polished, which is great for a lot of grip. Really does help with that. The blade shape on this reminds me of kind of a few different, more traditional patterns. The elephant toe certainly has a lot of things going on here, but there's also the canoe and butterbean, which are also fairly similar, but they're going to upsweep just a little bit less than this one would. But I do think most of those are, slip joints and have two different blades on them. So this is a little bit different as far as that's concerned. This guy is 3.5 finger knife. And that's because, we have a 2.88-inch knife going on here. But we can grip it over here. I can easily and comfortably get 3 fingers on there. And this little notch here is super nice for being able to accommodate my pinky and not feel like it's shut out and has to be all the way back here. So, yeah, really, really comfortable for a what feels like pretty close to a 4-finger grip here. We do have a fairly thick blade stock on this guy, 3.85 millimeters. Does come down to a decent bevel down here by the edge. I've reprofiled this one, and for whatever reason, I don't remember exactly, I decided to do this one at more of a 15-degree angle, probably because it was smaller, so I wanted to have just a really, really crazy sharp sort of knife that's quite thin behind the edge there. But as we can see, because of that, it has brought the thickness up behind the edge just a little bit here. And I've also put basically the very, very beginnings of a smile all up onto the sides of that blade. The plunge grind does end basically right there in the middle, but that little notch there is it's a little small for an actual sharpening choil, but hey, at least the thought was put into it. The action on this thing, fairly decent. It's less than a 3-inch knife, which is much more difficult for companies to get a nice drop shutty feel to, because they just don't have that much weight out towards the tip to force it closed. But no complaints on the action whatsoever. Works really, really well. As far as the lock bar access goes, we do have scallops going on both sides there. I don't particularly have any troubles at all unlocking this guy, but I guess your mileage may vary if you have very, very large thumbs or something like that. But overall, works out great. Even works out great up top, but also a little bit further back. Yes, so this is the point that I'm not super happy about. And that's this pocket clip here. I have kind of mentioned this on a couple others. NightMorning was unfortunately the one that has done this the most. But yeah, we have basically an offset thing carved into the micarta, but only one anchor point, which means that this guy will end up chewing through the micarta over time, and you'll get some side-to-side play on the pocket clip, which is a little unfortunate. The good thing is that I can say this is only one variant of it with the micarta scales. The other variant is just full titanium. They didn't mill out any of this part to it. It's a little bit heavier, but you are absolutely not going to have any troubles with the pocket clip on that one because of that. They do have a little bit of a texturing going on the titanium on those ones as well. This one, yeah, quite a tall blade. Does make it quite nice for kind of really getting in there and doing stuff. I've done a bit of wood whittling and just dicking around. I'm obviously not really so much of an artistic type, but it is fun to cut into some wood every so often. And that's basically where I got this rolled edge here. But yeah, you have a ton of control to be able to do a lot of those motions. And I do like having a taller blade for some of that stuff. Works out really, really great. The handle on it, I could basically say it's a coffin shape or something like that. Fairly straight. I guess that would probably be a little bit more of a traditional Bowie style that you would see a coffin style shape on. They will have a little bit more contour than this one, but hey, it is what it is, and it's quite nice and comfortable for something being small but big. So there you go. Let's see, as far as the thickness on this guy, this is 0.54 inches thick, but that's, of course, at the thickest point because this is contoured a bit. And it's about 0.51 at the top and bottom, which is just a little bit thicker than the Spyderco PM2. Speaking of, that's what I will go into next here is kind of some size comparisons. Speaking of that Spyderco PM2, there you go. Much larger than this thing. Let's see. That's not super relevant. That's not super relevant. Here we go. We got the Benchmade bug out. And you can definitely tell this thing isn't super long if the bug out is longer than it. Of course, they do make a mini bug out, but hey, there you go. Much longer handle here on the K-Bar Dozier, but as far as sharpened blade length and stuff, very similar. So there you go with that. And sure, why not? For gits and shiggles, let's go ahead and throw the Ontario Rat number 1 up here. The Rat number 2 is actually going to be larger than that, even though I don't physically own one myself. But there we go. This thing is really fun. Really, it's a stout powerhouse, I really want to say. I really do enjoy using this thing quite a bit. Even though, usually I do prefer having much larger knives. I think a little bit more for me actually getting a nice full 4-finger grip rather than me likey 4-inch blade, even though they are fun to use for some tasks. But yeah, you get a lot of control out of this thing, so it's great. That being said, I really would suggest if you are looking into picking this knife up, seek out the full titanium variant rather than the micarta one here. That and because they haven't milled out the portions of the titanium there, it's a little bit thicker, so hey, it might even be a little bit more reliable. But all that being said, I don't really think this is going to be unreliable at all. Yeah, lockup's probably right around what, 30, 35%, somewhere right around there. Yeah. Nice centering. Maybe just a little bit off, but it didn't come that way. That was obviously me messing up a little bit there. The blade is a little close to the top here, but it's something where the only way I can touch that is by digging my finger in there and then touching the side with my fingernail. I'm not basically going to end up cutting myself at all on this, so it is decently tucked away, so a little less dangerous than some of the ones that have that snaggle tooth that I end up calling it, where the blade is way too close up there, and the blade stock thickness is really thick on them. Yeah, works out great. Little lanyard hole in here. Usually I do appreciate to see a hidden lanyard thing, but I suppose with this being a little bit more of a traditional pattern, or at least a take on a traditional pattern, I suppose it makes sense to have an actual lanyard hole there. So, alright, that's it for my standard review of this thing. So if that's what you stopped by for, then I appreciate y'all for stopping by. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Alright, I'm done begging. For the rest of us, I'm going to go ahead and take a look on the inside here. Take a little look under the covers, if you will. Just so we all know what's going on the inside and the outside of this thing. So, I'm going to go ahead and remove that pocket clip again. Actually, I'm going to push that out of the way so I don't have to try to wiggle that against the micarta. I haven't had any damage yet on it, and this micarta is a little bit more sturdy than some of their cheaper stuff, but still. Micarta is what micarta is, and it's nowhere near as strong or stable as G10 as a synthetic material. But, yeah, here we go. We have a very large internal mounted blade stop pen there. We got their standard everything going on here. No detent ramp put on this one, but the detent is decently early on it, so it's kind of one or the other, if that's something that you want to do there. And let's see, even the scale screws are T8 on these guys in particular. Nothing incredible to see under there, but they are there. Might make that a little bit useful later on if you end up developing some sort of issues with this. You could probably easily pull this off, make a stencil out of that, and, you know, create your own scale for it out of, I don't know, whatever the hell you want. G10, carbon fiber, I guess micarta again, if you want. Now this one does have a D-shaped pivot, which is neat, but this one is kind of one of their newer ones. So that D shape is actually interfacing on this side of, or the show side, I should say, of the whole knife construction there. So it's a little bit easier to put back together because you can put that in place and then easily set the lock bar side on there without having any troubles trying to get that notch lined up, like you probably saw me deal with just a little bit last week before I ended up cutting. But all right, so slap it back on here and put her all back together. Here's wrist cam in case anybody missed it. I don't know about you, and I don't necessarily have the editing skills nor a camera lens that would allow me to do that. But usually in my mind, when I'm like, hey, it's wrist cam, I'm thinking like the ridiculous whip zoom in and out and in and out, like you would get on a lot of, I don't know, stupid 90s commercials and stuff like that. It's outrageous! Alright, yeah, I should just shut up now. But Okay, so I really do like this thing for its size. It's large, it's capable, yet well under 3 inches. Folds up fairly decently compact. I really like that. Overall, it's great. Some people aren't going to like the billboarding that's done on there. It's not the first time the TwoSun's done it, but usually if they do, NightMorning is part of that whole design process there. But yeah, overall, a really nice, classy design. Just get the full titanium version and you'll be golden. So, all right. As always, I appreciate y'all for watching, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your day, yo.